Hi, I'm Borkon. Glad to have you here. Welcome back. And yeah, we maybe need to talk about the previous episode. I got quite a few questions already. It's like the video has only been out for less than a day, and there has already been tons and tons of comments on that video. Yes, I did really build a raid farm up there. I already removed the portals. Yes, I definitely did build a proper raid farm up there. It was the Kronos raid farm, so it is the one that everybody's telling everybody else to build instead of witch huts. It's probably the best or one of the best stacking raid farms that exists. I did make it fully functional. That was a little bit point of that crazy montage to show that I actually did all the required steps to make it work. I re-enabled this villager breeder, got the villagers in. The villager at the bottom, if you were a little bit observant, it actually had a problem. I'm showing you air, but there used to be a raid farm here. The villager at the bottom here, he actually was supposed to stand in the composter and not on top of the composter. I actually had issues with him. He fell down, fell out. I had to capture him again, put him back. I didn't put that into the montage because it was already 9 minutes long and I left a few bits out. Like one of the things I left out is that I actually built a roof here. And the roof here was very, very, very necessary because you can't even imagine how hilarious it is when this area here is filled with hundreds of Ravagers. So that stacking raid farm was quite good because it managed to function properly even though half of the raids were leaking. And apparently raids can spawn on top of this thing. I thought I wouldn't need the roof, but I did testing. I think I took a backup of this world like 15 times and just tested things in creative various steps just to figure out what would work and so I wouldn't ruin this world permanently. And one of the things I discovered was that the raids could spawn on top of here. And the same thing, maybe it wasn't particularly clear, the glass here was also because the raids could spawn exactly on top of these blocks. Not over here, nothing spawned on top of these blocks over here because we're too far away. But this line of blocks on top of the wall could definitely spawn raids, and that was a big issue because that also leaked raids. And the explosion was absolutely glorious, and it was glorious for two reasons. One, it entirely destroyed the raid farm. Number two, actually, no, three reasons, not just two reasons. Three reasons it was glorious. Two, I turned around and looked at it and recorded it at exactly the right moments. I tested that in creative and I always messed it up. Like I couldn't really catch it properly. And a little bit like the minecart blowing up many episodes ago. It wasn't that many, but like a bunch of episodes ago, I blew up the big minecart model. And that explosion was also just big trouble. I couldn't film it properly and it didn't end up well. I filmed the explosion of the raid farm absolutely perfectly, even with sound, with everything. It was glorious. And it destroyed every single block. Except the big pillar. Like, so if you look at the end of the video, oh, where was it? Like, there was a big pillar that was sending signal to the villager pods. And that pillar didn't blow up, or I didn't place any TNT there. Because, and that's reason number three why that explosion went just absolutely gloriously, because in every test I did, the TNTs were pushed and destroyed either this autocrafter here, this building, the new building, or destroyed the wall. And when I did it live, it was literally on this server. There was no creative trickery here. It was all done properly, legitimately, and well. But when I did it live, the only destruction that happened were two big craters down here. So the TNTs got just pushed into the floor. I mean, repairing floor damage is super easy. There's no big deal. So I fixed that already. I also removed the portals as well, just before the stream that we had yesterday. And let's get some sleep without any trickery now and without my evil twin waking up. And let's talk about what we did on stream yesterday. So, like I said at the end of the previous episode, my plan for this area is, or at least was. We're gonna talk about that in a second. The plan was to, well, first run these bombers here. Simple bombers, the same I used in Perimeter Challenge. Actually, the same ones I used to blow up the trenches when making these this perimeter here. Just use them to blow up the sea lanterns, but also all the stone between the bedrocks here. And this is kind of critical because we need to be running the bedrock breakers. This is the bedrock breaker. We'll get into that in a second. The bedrock breaker has slime or sticky blocks at the bottom, so if there's any stone between the bedrocks, it's gonna get stuck. That's why I left the bombers up, because some of the stone between the bedrocks is kind of protected by the bedrock, and we will have to run these a few more times. So the bedrock breaker I chose to use for this project, and the project is the idea is that I am going to just break the bedrock on the sides, which would simplify making the trenches for the World Eater that I'm gonna use to remove the worlds under this perimeter after we update to 118, right? Because we're gonna get a new deep slate and caves generating under this perimeter, which will break the perimeter. We need to fix that. And rather than doing any trickery, I'm just gonna do it properly by using a World Eater. That's the idea. And the idea here is that we're gonna break the bedrock so we automatically get the trenches. This might not be the best idea, and I'll get into that in a second. But so this is a tileable bedrock breaker published by Desu. I will give you a link in the description to the video that shows how this is working. And basically, you build this just once. It's not moving into the sides. It just eats up a line of bedrock. And we can see, for example, I don't know, yeah, you can see one channel here, and it's just all the bedrock is removed, and every other bedrock is not removed. Remove bedrock, everything left. So now I just need to build this machine back over there again, once, move it over one block, and remove the other rows of bedrock here, and then, well, naively we could say that we need to build it one block lower down, and then remove the next layer, one block lower down, and just repeat. But in reality, what we want to do is that we have run it once now like this. I will remove the second rows as well, and then the next one needs to go here. And the reason is that we stopped removing the bedrock here. This is the last piston that has been removing bedrock. The machine has run into the wall and basically blown itself up completely. So it's dead. I need to just completely remove it. And because it left this bunch of bedrock here, if we run it in this direction now, this sweep will remove slightly more down here. There are some issues with this. I'm not going to go too much into the details because we need to tackle the big problem here. I realized yesterday during the stream that I need to do this 40 times. Yeah, I need to rebuild this machine and run it 40 times. Now I understand why people are building three-way bedrock breakers, because I was thinking, oh, this is much more efficient because this is breaking many bedrocks at the same time, which is true. But that doesn't really matter. It's the build effort that takes time. Running this for the 300 blocks, so a little bit over an hour. It's no big deal. Completely irrelevant. I could do something else while doing it. Building this, on the other hand, took me 3 hours. I was doing the building very, very inefficiently because it was in the middle of a stream, and it was a kind of weird stream. It was more ranting than streaming, but it was fun. There was lots of people in the chat talking, and we were talking about some crazy things. And speaking of that, for those that don't know, after the Perimeter Challenge, I started a second channel that contains stream replays, and this stream will be put up on that channel as well. There are links everywhere on my channel to the second channel. It's called Borkon. It's basically, it literally has, like, if you know that my channel icon is this fantastic face, well, the channel icon for Borkon is the guy from your nightmares, the guy who did the building in the last episode. If you want to see the stream replay, just go to that channel. Subscribe if you want to. Don't subscribe if you don't want to. So the problem is I need to build this 40 times. And if it takes 3 hours to build, the answer is very simple. Then it takes 120 hours to finish this project. And that is 120 hours I don't have. It's that simple. And the reason I'm saying that is the time I don't have is that I want to update to 118 this year. If this takes 120 hours to do, then I cannot update to 118 this year, then this project has failed and cannot be done. I have to do this differently. But there is another option. The option is that I was just ridiculously slow building this on stream because I was distracted all the time, and maybe it's not that complicated to build. So I will now build the second one, the one that removes the rows of bedrock that weren't removed, and run that one and see how long that takes. If it takes, and I have decided, if it takes less than 1.5 hours, which would put the entire project to 60 hours instead of 120 hours. If it takes less than 1.5 hours for me to build this, then we go ahead and finish the project. But if it takes more than 1.5 hours, we have to do this differently. And besides, this is just a vanity project, right? I could just build the trenches normally, eat the world, and then build a freeway bedrock eater, because I really want to remove the bedrock down there. It might actually just make sense that I make the trenches in the classic way, eat the world, and then just remove the bedrock with a freeway bedrock breaker. That could be a much better option, and I definitely should consider that. I don't know, but the first experiment we're doing in today's video is I'm building one of these at the back there behind me where the moon is, the small moon, not a big moon. And we're gonna see how long it takes to build it. And if it's more than 1.5 hours, I am aborting this project. Let's go. Well, and to put it simply, abort, abort, abort. I'm already at 2 hours and the machine just destroyed itself again. This happens with this thing all the time. It is absolutely impossible to build. There's so many pistons here that are bud powered, so you place one block wrong or place the blocks in the wrong order and this whole thing tears itself apart. I have now repaired the bit over here I don't know how many times, and yeah, I'm giving up. It's already over 2 hours and I am not seeing that this thing is gonna be easier to build in the future. Like those mistakes are just way too easy to make. It's just a nightmare to build this thing. What I'm gonna do now is to just stay AFK here for as long as possible to get as many pistons as possible, and we're gonna bomb the trenches in the classic, normal, proper way, and after that we're gonna world eat everything below here, which will still be a big project because, well, I'm gonna get into that when we get there, because I'm assuming it's gonna take quite a bit of effort to do that too. And after that, we're gonna eat the bedrock, because I have decided that that would be an interesting thing to do. So, what we need to focus on right now is getting as many pistons as possible. I think we're gonna need somewhere between 300 and 400 shulker boxes of pistons to do this. I'm gonna do the exact math later. I have already done it. It was less than 400, I just remembered that, but it was more than 300. So it's on the order of something like that. And this thing here is working quite a bit. There is more pistons here. I have now 2 large chests here that I'm filling with shulker boxes of pistons. But yeah, we will probably need 8 double chests of shulker boxes of pistons, maybe 7.5. So now we need to speed up the process of building the pistons. And like I mentioned earlier, our biggest bottleneck for making the pistons is TNT, so I'm gonna deal with the easiest problem first, and the easiest problem is this thing. This thing was very fun to design. Let's just look at it again. It's kind of inspired by an Il Mango design. We're just dropping the TNT here and blowing up the cobblestone here. But the problem you can see here, there isn't that much cobblestone. And this was originally, like the original design that Il Mango did was for TNT duping. We're not doing TNT duping here. We are having organically farmed TNT, which means that I need to be much more TNT efficient than this. That is unacceptable. Let's make it 10 times better. So first we need to remove it like this. And next we need to build this thing. Oh yeah, that was some pro editing there. Alright, so let's look at how this thing works. Let's enable this, because right now I think everybody doesn't need cobblestone. We're just using the TNT for wood. Things have sped up, so it's going good, but we can waste a little bit of cobblestone here. So, what's going on here? Have you actually started up thing? You have not. Why have you not started up? Why is this thing not... Ah, because this double chest is completely full. Yes. Haha. And I'm assuming that the hoppers above are full too. So let's start from the end. The way this machine works, and I'm in free cam right now, the way this machine works is that we are requesting cobblestone from a buffer here, as opposed to from before. Before I actually had the blown up cobblestone go into water streams immediately, but that is a dumb idea for various reasons. Right, now this thing up here has started. So let's start from the beginning here. Standard cobble generator. We are actually splitting it in two. We have 3 cobblestone being pushed in here, 3 cobblestone being pushed in here. There is a hole in the middle, and that is on purpose. And the reason is because I wanted to make a cobble generator that shoots the TNT from below. And the TNT is actually quite well aligned, and I think all the time, or at least very much most of the time, it flies up between these cobblestones that are being pushed in. Every 5th time we push in the cobblestone, we shoot the TNT. And it is perfectly timed so that the cobblestone gets pushed the moment the TNT explodes, has low blast resistance, and blows up much easier. I think we might be able to see this in a second. I think the next push is gonna be the explodey push. There is the cobblestone. Now it doesn't get pushed, and TNT bumps up, and everything gets blown up with perfect timing. Now, the reason I did it this way is quite simple. I've never built a blowy up machine that blows up from below, so I wanted to do it this time. That's it. That's the whole reasoning. It has advantages, of course. The advantage is that the cobblestone doesn't get stuck on anything, on blown up blocks, and then gets blown up. The cobblestone always falls down. There are pretty much no losses. And we are getting 5 by 6 by 7. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks wide like that. 3 blocks plus 3 blocks here is 6. And every 5th we actually blow up. So I've been doing experimenting. It is almost possible to have every 6th push blow up, but only almost. Sometimes, and maybe once every 2 hours, these cobblestones get pushed down all the way to the bottom, and then the pistons can't push, and we don't blow things up. So just to be safe, we're doing it every 5th time. That gives us 210 cobblestone per TNT, as opposed to the previous machine, which had 16. And it wasn't even 16, because the previous machine actually had quite some losses with cobblestone falling into the lava. So we're blowing up the cobblestone here. It goes into this chest where it gets stored, and then it gets dispensed by just shooting it here. And here is my fantastic innovation. And this thing makes clumps of the cobblestone. So there is a new stack of cobblestone flying into the water stream, and this is double speed because every filter that receives the cobblestone can run at double speed. I have made sure of that. So this is shooting out the cobblestone at double speed. So every 4 ticks, 1 cobblestone, and then they get stacked here. Every 40 ticks, we get a new stack floating up here. The stacks aren't absolutely perfect. Some of them have 10 items, some of them have 9, some have 11. I have even seen 8 and 12, but that's very rare. But on average it's 10, and it's good enough for a system like this. The idea here is that we don't want to send the cobblestone too often. Since the water streams aren't perfectly predictable, if we send these clumps every 8 ticks, there is a chance that the first cobble arrives onto a hopper in there, and then the next one arrives slightly too early, like 1 tick too early after 7 ticks, and then doesn't get picked up, and then we get a buildup of cobblestone at the end of the water stream where it despawns. We don't want that. This way, once a second and more or less 10 items at a time seems perfectly fine. And by the way, this is something that I actually need to do here as well, where I'm crafting the planks that I'm sending into the water streams, because I'm having the exact same problem with planks, that the planks are not ending up in the filters correctly and they build up at the end there. But that's a different problem. Might actually deal with it today as well. But, so, simple cobble generator. The only other interesting thing here that is quite of an innovation, I haven't ever seen anyone do this, is... where is it? Ooh, this is so hard to see. Down here. And I'm going to actually make a video about this. And the reason is because I haven't found anyone who has a sensible collection or guide of pulse dividers. So there are ways to divide pulses by 2. That's easy. Everybody knows how to do that. Then there is a divisor by 3 that El Mango made. I think I've seen El Mango use it, and someone a year ago or so mentioned that it was in Mango's design. I haven't found the source of it, but based on that one, I made a divisor by 5, and it's nice and compact and easy. It is this magical thing right here, and I'll make a separate video explaining how it works, because it is pretty cool and compact and nice. And other than that, there is not much else going on here. Standard cobble generator. And the coolest part is probably just this thing here, that I have finally started tackling this problem. I might also do this for redstone that is coming in the water streams from the witch huts, because the redstone is just completely unpredictable. There I might not even have a dropper in between. I might just have the piston pushing things. That might be enough. Right, and if we climb up to the filter right here, I just saw a cobblestone fly by, so I might be lying. We can see how this works in practice. This hopper never gets full, right? But it picks up 10 at the same time. That was 10. It stops at 40. That's 51, so it picked up 11. And picked up 10 again. Or actually 9. Etc, etc. It keeps going like that. We shouldn't have problems with the hoppers locking up. Although I think I saw a cobblestone fly by. Let me go verify this, because this is weird. Maybe there is something else going on here that I don't understand about how hoppers work. Maybe if some other item passes over the hopper. Yeah, there's definitely cobblestone back here. Why is there cobblestone back here? It's literally a filter. So if another item passes over the hopper and it doesn't pick it up, does that still add a cooldown? Oh, then this idea just doesn't work at all. Then we need clumps of everything. But I have also figured out another thing, and that it is no longer cobblestone or planks that are an issue here. If we go into the storage for the piston crafter for all the various materials, this one here should be the redstone, and we are running out of redstone. So we have tons of planks. This here should be iron. This here is cobblestone, and we're doing fine on cobblestone. The only thing we're not doing fine on is redstone. So now the witch farms are a bottleneck for the whole process. That's the way it should be. It should be the witch farms that should be the bottleneck everywhere here. It's no longer gunpowder. So I'm not gonna bother fixing this thing up here, because I think it works, except that I might actually misunderstand how hoppers work. Or maybe because an item passes over a hopper, that starts the cooldown, and if another item arrives too early, well, then it won't pick it up. That would kind of suck. I don't know if it's like that. I don't know why that hopper didn't pick everything up, because it was never full. It's weird. I'll have to look into this. And I also fixed this thing here. So now we are doing the same thing. We are batching all the items that are coming from both of the witch farms from both sides. We can look here. They arrive on this, and that is a bug. Interesting. Why is there a bug here? Well, I'll have to investigate that as well. I don't see anything other than sugar being stuck, so maybe that's not a problem. Or maybe I have a small issue here that they shouldn't be getting stuck like that. But we are creating clumps out of everything, including the redstone. There is a little bit of issue of items bouncing back and forth, but it doesn't seem to be a big deal. Just this sugar got stuck. That's weird. Maybe there is some debugging that I need to do, but in general, this is working just fine. Now, the next big project in here before updating to 1.18 is to upgrade the witch farms to be as fast as possible. So I'm gonna end here. I'm gonna go into creative, and I'm gonna speed up the witch farms as much as I can. Maybe go for a completely different design, because while this design is kind of fun, it's not the absolutely possibly fastest, so let's do that. But that will be next time, because we are completely out of time for today. Thanks a lot for watching, and have a good item clumping. Bye!